Bad Boys Ride or Die is the fourth Bad Boys film, and I can't be the only person on the planet who's saying this, but there was a huge missed opportunity from the marketing department to call this Bad Boys for Life. Get it? Four? It's the fourth movie, for life? But yeah, can you believe that? The first Bad Boys movie came out back in the mid-90s, and here they are making a fourth one after the success of Bad Boys for Life. That one came out right before COVID hit, and it was, with an asterisk, one of the biggest hits of that year. And we follow our favorite wisecracking Miami cops, Mike Lowrey and Marcus Burnett, once again played by Will Smith and Martin Lawrence respectively. They embark on a dangerous mission to clear the name of their late police captain, played by Joe Pantoliano, because he's starting to get links to drug cartels. Ooh. This leads to a bunch of comedic hijinks. It doesn't really sound like I'm all that excited to talk about Bad Boys Ride or Die, but here's the thing, guys. All three Bad Boys movies preceding this have been very entertaining. Bad Boys for Life is easily my favorite of the three. And yes, I can already sense the viewers who are watching this that are itching to get me to say something positive about Michael Bay. You're not going to get that from me. Which, while I'm at it, this guy is not the messiah of cinema. Especially not the messiah of blockbusters. That man has only put out two great movies in his career. The Rock and The Island. That's it. Yes, you do have guilty pleasures like Armageddon, which is admittedly very stupid. Pain and Gain, even more stupid. And the first two Bad Boys movies, objectively pretty stupid, but still very entertaining. What else can I say, guys? He is a filmmaking smoke and mirrors con man, and I'm sick of him. So, spare me the lectures. That being said, this team of directors is actually very promising, Adil and Bilall. I love what they're doing with the cinematography here. You're probably seeing this footage circulating on social media behind the scenes of Will Smith violently turning the camera around while he's in some serious gunfight. When that scene hits, oh my god, it is so much fun. It is high-octane, adrenaline-fueled action. And these guys have proven that they have a lot of potential as directors in this genre. They did Bad Boys for Life, as I mentioned, which is my favorite so far. And Ride or Die honestly might have topped it just because of the surprisingly in-depth character development. Will Smith as Mike Lowrey absolutely slaps in this. He was just a recent newlywed, so this guy definitely has a lot riding on him, and you can feel the pressure cooker under him. And I think Will Smith, overall, joking aside, is a very charming actor, and he is very likable whenever you see him. I will tell you that Martin Lawrence steals the entire movie. He had me in stitches a good majority of the time. And there is a very recurrent running gag in this one involving Martin Lawrence's character not being able to die or being immortal or something like that. Some people might get tired of that joke very quickly. I found it funnier and funnier the more it was used, and Martin Lawrence was really freaking great in this. You don't really have a single weak link in the acting department. It was cool to see Vanessa Hudgens in a movie like this. Kato from The Hunger Games playing a likable hero of sorts was really good. And like I said, I like the inventiveness of the action. I like the action sequence that takes place aboard this descending helicopter. It was like a better version of what Uncharted tried to market to you a couple years ago. And the climax, as I mentioned, with the first-person POV innovation there was really cool. The setting for it, I thought, was really creative and a pretty unique idea for a Bad Boys movie. I don't want to give too much away in regards to what it is, but it is very, very familiar to another very famous blockbuster that I've talked about. And Martin Lawrence as Marcus actually does allude to said blockbuster when they're in this setting. And I'm like, you really didn't have to do that. And ultimately, I saw the pacing of Bad Boys Ride or Die to be its biggest downfall. The first couple of acts I thought were paced perfectly fine, but is it just me, or did this third act go on for f***ing ever? Like, it felt to me like there were at least 3 false endings where I was like, okay, you could roll credits right there and it could be perfectly fine. The denouement especially has this big running joke about Marcus's son, who is a Marine and a badass in his own right. There's a running joke about treating him with respect, and I don't know how much it landed. I really don't. But that's the case with all comedies. Like, not all jokes are gonna land for everybody. In the case of my theater, when I saw this last night, it was a cheap Tuesday. It was jam-packed. Everybody was psyched to see this, and they were howling, they were applauding. And that really is the big indicator of a successful franchise. If it's a sequel to a movie that came out almost 30 years ago, and the new entries are still resonating with their audiences as much as they are, I can't really sit here and knock Bad Boys for that. I actually have mad respect for it. Now, one last thing I did want to address. I love how these directors were handling the action overall. This third act, once again, it just felt to me like they were putting in all the Michael Bay-isms possible. And it was kind of grating on my nerves a little bit. I was sitting there like, did Michael Bay suddenly just take over for these guys who are perfectly capable? Because I counted at least a half dozen explosions in this climax. There was an overabundance of slow motion. Which, don't get me wrong, I love me some slow-mo. It is very cool. But when you overly rely on it, that's when it can get a little bit annoying. And my God, if I could criticize one thing about the overall camera work in this movie, way too much shaky cam. There are instances where the shaky cam will absolutely be necessary. Case in point, the helicopter sequence that I was referring to. But when you're using shaky cam when you don't need to, and you're going all first Hunger Games on me, that's when you lose me a little bit. And that's when I'm more concerned about making sure that I'm not dizzy in the head, rather than paying attention to what's going on in the story. But overall, I would say that Ride or Die may be the best Bad Boys movie yet. I don't know if it's on the same level or better than Bad Boys for Life the more I'm talking about this movie. But I think, first of all, if you really enjoyed this franchise, you're gonna love this. And it feels like a perfect movie that is catered to be a summer blockbuster. It is filled with fireworks, loads of explosions, great action, and arguably speaking, the return of the best buddy cop duo in movie history. Like, if you wanted to sit there and argue with me that Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's chemistry makes them the best buddy cop duo, it's a hard point to argue against. I'm gonna give Bad Boys Ride or Die a B-. Certainly an entertaining watch, and I think it's one of the stronger entries of the four. Just those little frustrating small things that hold it back from being one of the year's absolute best. Let me know what you thought of Ride or Die down in the comment section below. What is your favorite Will Smith performance? Where do you think Martin Lawrence has been his funniest? Lots of things we can discuss and then some in the comments, guys. I love getting in front of the camera and discussing all things in the cinematic world. If you're new to the channel, do consider subscribing and tap on that thumbs up as well. That would be awesome. Stay tuned for more videos very soon. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be watching Inside Out 2. Can't freaking wait. I'm seeing a lot of my colleagues on Twitter saying that it was an excellent movie. My hype for this thing is through the roof. All that and much more to come, guys. Y'all are the best. And with all that being said, back talk, commence.